Why did I see that?
Amen.
Here you go. Oh, thank you. I don't appreciate that.
Good to go. Now I'll call the meeting to order for Everman City Council regular meeting for Tuesday, January 17th, 2023. The time is 6:30. Everybody please rise for a moment of silence while I pledge allegiance. First item on the agenda is consent agenda. Item A, minutes, November 1st, 2022 regular meeting, November 15th, 2022 regular meeting, December 20th, 2022 regular meeting. And then item B, financials, December 2022. I'll entertain.
I move we approve the consent agenda as read. Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion?
I have a comment. I'd like to know if possible, on the check register, it just lists, the amounts of the checks that have been, sent out. And, if there could be, on the transparency online, since that's not being updated, is there a way to break down what, the checks are for? I mean, it lists that it's a commercial bank, bank card, and it just says $27,000. I mean,
Yes, we're actually working, we have sign-ons for everyone for the OpenGov transparency so that you can retrieve all of that information as you previously did. So we need to schedule training sessions on that.
And I'll be clear too on this, council, we have no problem with transparency at all. If you ever have a
Thank
question
you.
about any of these items, feel free, we're happy to share with you whatever it is that you have a question about.
well, that's great, but like I said, I just, telling me that's $27,000.
Sure.
That's,
Yeah.
If we're gonna have too much more discussion, that probably needs to be moved from the consent. agenda.
no, that was it, that was
Can we have a
all
motion
I
on
was
the table?
questioning about.
I able to provide clarification on that specific dollar amount, or do we need to?
I think we should move forward unless it's gonna be on that. This,
Any other discussion? Full council.
Place 2,
Aye.
place 3,
Aye.
place 4,
Aye.
place 5,
Aye.
place 6.
Aye.
Mayor.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next item, let's see. Citizens comments.
Don't have anybody signed up.
Okay.
Did you?
I mean, we got a couple of questions. I know the agenda can't, they can't answer them. But I mean, there's some comments that people get concerned about.
That's your choice, man.
We good?
do we have a card filled out?
No, do you have to take a request one?
Well, we'll get him to fill that out and then we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
You were-
Yeah, I'll take one.
Wait. We're gonna do discussion items and come back to them.
Yes.
Okay. Or then.
Yeah, pencils.
Okay, so we'll drop down to item 7, discussion items. Item A, City of Everman drainage study. Councilwoman Johnny.
Wanted us to discuss, if possible, some of the ARPA funds, or if we could,
Go ahead. You go.
some of the ARPA funds, if we could possibly open up like a grant or something for residents, the ones that have, problems with the drainage. Some residents are having to have to like dig trenches or whatever. And I wanted to see if maybe a grant or something where they could possibly match it. I mean, possibly a certain amount, but I mean, if if we could use it toward that, if that could be possible.
So. Yes, there are possibilities for that, but one of the requirements prior to FEMA being able to fund flood mitigation projects is that we first have to do the drainage study itself. And that includes, that's not just governmental entities, that includes anybody wanting to alter the FEMA floodplain, even for private development. They a lot of times have to do drainage studies on the private side and submit what's called a LOMR through FEMA to get that adjusted. So that's what we are working on now. And I think the mayor can probably update where we're at as far as the drainage study funding from Tarrant County. I know we're very, very close to that. We've just been kind of on their timeline waiting to kick off the study. Once that study is complete and we have the results of that study, then there are a tremendous amount of flood mitigation projects that will provide funding assistance not only for public government like us, but they will also provide funding assistance to public-private partnerships and those kind of things to engage in drainage improvements and flood mitigation. So yes, there is that opportunity. Unfortunately, it's a little bit on the horizon. It's not as quick as what we would like, but before we could even begin, I think any kind of funding program to go out there, we would be obligated to comply with the FEMA standards and having a drainage study done first, which is what we are completing right now.
And just let everybody know, I was contacted by the county that they've been finalizing the contract with Teague, Neal and Perkins, and they hope to have it before Commissioners Court on either the 24th or the 31st for approval. Once it's approved, then we should see the study start pretty quick.
Excellent.
Yeah, the reason why I brought that up was because I know there are some residents that are, even with the minor floodings or whatever,
Sure.
rain or whatever, that they're having to have to like dig trenches on side of their houses and stuff to let the water run off, even in their front yards and stuff. So I was just checking.
No, and it's a very good point. Drainage is a very big concern. And I think the drainage study, once we're able to complete that and get the results of that, the drainage study will really be the fact-finding mission of figuring out what steps, and it'll even detail what options we have for flood mitigation for those kind of properties. That also gives the city a very engineered and detailed report on how to best proceed forward without damaging other people's properties as well. Because that's always a risk. If we kind of guess on what we should or shouldn't do without an engineered study, are we going to cause any damages to another property by improving another? So I think you're on target. I think we can certainly meet that goal. Unfortunately, it's just a little bit on the horizon, further out than we've anticipated. We've been fighting for this study for several years now. But it is finally happening. An engineering firm has been assigned to it, and we're ready to begin it as soon as the Commissioners Court approves it and finally put that ammunition in our back pocket.
Thanks.
Yes, ma'am.
So next item B, water rates, Councilwoman Jody Allen.
Back when we had the roof replaced in December, there were, some people would charge late fees or whatever on their water bills. And I was just wanting to know or discuss if how you were going to handle that. Did they have to, were you going to send something out like on the water bill as a note to say if they were charged, to bring it to your attention, or how were you going to handle that?
So let me look at the timeline of that, because I believe the roof construction was after the due date for the water bill.
Right, but you could not drop it off, or I don't know about the inside, but I know you couldn't drop it off on the outside.
Right,
And-
but what I'm saying is because the roof construction occurred after the deadline for the late fees, and they should have paid before that, prior to, so the late fees should have already been applied prior to the roof construction for the month. Late fees for January are being applied tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. So there shouldn't be anybody that should suffer a late fee because of roof construction. But I will confirm the dates and double check. Certainly, if there's any fault of the city that prohibits it from paying their water bill, our standard practice is we'll either delay water late fees, or we'll waive water late fees for that period of time. I can certainly look into that for you, man.
Okay, thank you.
Because we didn't do water cutoffs, correct?
We do not do water cutoffs in November or December. We do perform water cutoffs starting back in January. That is
Also, I wanted to know, again, with the ARPA funds or whatever, there are some cities that, if you've been a resident for a certain length of time, you could either get your deposit back or certain amount or whatever, and I wanted to know if possibly the city of Everman could do something like that for the residents.
Let me research that and
That's
I don't
not-
have an answer for you right now. I'd have to check on what the eligible expenses are associated with ARPA, but I can check on that. So pretty much what you're asking is associated with water rates, you're wanting a program of some type to provide water bill relief to the resident? Is that-
No, just say like a rebate or a credit toward a resident that's been here 30 years. Just give them a credit for $50 or something like that.
A one-time,
Yes,
Why?
why not? I mean, other cities do it all the time and,
Which city?
okay, Dallas, for instance, just started one.
Down.
But anyway, like I said, to see if it could be like a credit, if you've been with the city of Everman for a certain length of time. I don't know what it's been so long, I don't know what the deposit was, but if you could do a credit for $50 toward each resident that's been here, like I said, a certain length of time, occurring on their bills or their water bill or whatever.
just returning a portion of the deposit. wouldn't-
No, it's not just returning.
No, I'm just saying that wouldn't be associated with ARPA funds, but that's a completely different fund the money is held in, so. Not saying that it couldn't happen, just
Mhm.
up for discussion.
I think probably unlikely, but he's looking at.
We'll have to research that answer and certainly put proposals, and that would require probably two. And I would imagine you would want to see impact projections on what that would cost and so forth. So we can work on that and bring that to you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so, you guys still filling out your papers?
I filled out mine, but the thing that I want to discuss was just discussed. I mean, there's some other things, but that was really the main thing I came up here to.
Rick, same with you?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it's coming in. And most of them were answered about the flooding.
Okay, so we're back on citizens' comments, so why don't you come up if you got anything?
I'm ready. I met you. With you.
Just keep in mind,
They can't.
we cannot respond back to you, so.
Just like food for thought, I guess. So I had a couple of people that talked to me. My mom's neighbor, overnight construction over here off of Enon. She says like midnight, they're still working up there. She's wanted to know, if there's anything that can be done besides the dust, but I know the dust we can't control. The other one was a couple of potholes everywhere. People want to know what's the deal with the roads. I mean, everybody, a lot of people just pay their taxes. We were one of them. They hit us hard. So everybody's kind of like, where's tax money going if we can't fix the potholes? The water rates. I mean, everybody's been telling me about those water rates. I mean, everybody's right now penny pension prices, groceries and everything went up. I mean, you're paying a lot more for electric bill, water bill. And we keep on seeing water just flowing out the street, up and down the streets all over the place. So everybody's like, why those water spilling everywhere and our rates are so high? So just a couple of things that people been telling me about. Because I'm the one that comes up here a lot. To give you a little insight on get some answers on that or let people know what's going on. And that's all I got.
Sticking around. You might get some more answers.
Okay, so we're gonna drop back down to discussion items, item C, staff updates report. Tarrant County Regional Communications Dispatch Services.
You want to take these one at a time, Mayor?
Yeah, let's do one at a time.
Just want to provide everybody an update related to dispatch. So we went live with Tarrant County Fire Alarm now being merged into Everman Police Dispatch, operating as Tarrant County Regional Communications. That merger was successful and went live on December the 28th. It has been operating very smoothly. Even the employees have been satisfied with the transition. There were some employees coming in that were a little concerned about how the transition would operate. So far, we've received some pretty overwhelming feedback. So now the staffing has increased from 4 dispatchers to now having 12 dispatchers total on staff, and that will increase again tomorrow as we plan to go live tomorrow with Forest Hill PD dispatch beginning tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Dispatch center still has some construction going on as we're trying to finish out some furniture builds and finish some of the finishing touches, but everything has been operating as smoothly as possible. There's obviously some hiccups along the way, but we've had a lot of progress and everything seems to be going very well. We have been selected by a research firm that Tarrant County 911 has hired to conduct research on dispatch center operations, and regional consolidation of dispatch centers. And I'm proud to share with you that they want to utilize Everman and what we're doing here as a potential nationwide model for dispatch centers across the country. So that's a pretty cool opportunity for us. We were utilized as an example during the meeting that was hosted with Tarrant County 911, hosting all of the city managers and the mayors throughout Tarrant County the other day. That meeting went very well, and we received some kudos from Commissioner Brooks, along with several people within the Tarrant County 911 organization about what we're doing here. So I truly believe happening with dispatch and what's happening with emergency communications is going to become a pretty good poster child for the area. And it also opens up some pretty good funding opportunities as well for us to improve on those operations and improve the city as a whole. So one thing that I want you all to know is that the citizens of Everman now receiving a service that they didn't get before when you call 911. And I talked about some of this in the tour, and I think a couple of you got to witness it. The dispatchers now are emergency medical dispatchers. So they're receiving first aid and even instructional CPR a lot of times over the phone, just providing that life-saving effort even before the first responders arrive. So I think a couple of people got to see the CPR in progress on a call, and it's pretty neat to witness. But it just gives that much more chance of a life being saved, and to be able to offer that now to our residents when that service wasn't received here before is pretty incredible. So just wanted to share that update with you.
Okay, so next item is Legends of Hannah Ranch subdivision development.
Today, we hosted a meeting with Vera Veritas, who is our contract inspection firm. Legends of Hannah Ranch have reached out and advised that they're ready to begin constructing the homes. Chief Watley was in attendance on that meeting, pretty much just outlining how the permit process is going to work and how the inspection process is going to work. Sidewalks have already been installed. I think they were finishing up a few more of those, but we can expect to begin receiving permit applications for homes to go up here probably within the next month. And therefore, shortly after that, hopefully start seeing some construction progress on the homes over there. So that's very good news for us.
Well, they reached out today, pre-construction meeting with the developer. They can meet with us, Bureau Veritas, and that way there's no confusion on how it will go. We speak directly to them. So.
Next item, mobile food truck park construction.
Mobile food truck park construction is almost complete. We have a few water taps to finish installing. But the pavilion has been installed, the fencing has been installed, the gates have been installed. We expect that this spring, we'll be able to open up the permitting process and begin accepting applications for food truck vendors to be at that site throughout the spring, summer, and fall. So we should have that operational this year, and are excited to see what kind of opportunities it brings.
I'm sorry, when did you say that's going to be in effect?
Spring.
Okay, so you're starting to receive applications now?
We've had a lot of people reaching out, wanting us to pull the trigger on it. We've been waiting on the last few water taps to get installed. Public Works has been working on that, getting the water supply over there. They should be done any time. So I would anticipate probably March, we can open up the permitting process and start the licensing process there. There is anybody that operates a mobile food truck really has to go through some pretty stringent requirements. They have to meet the Tarrant County Public Health guidelines, the state guidelines, and then they have to go through a registration process and inspection process with the fire marshal's office, and then the permitting process through the city. Essentially, they're opening up a restaurant on wheels. So they have to meet almost all the same guidelines that a restaurant will. Rich is here from Tacos Oasis, so he can tell you about a mobile food truck. We pretty much have to meet all the same requirements that a restaurant has to meet, but pretty much on wheels. So they have to have the separate bins, the wash bins, they got a Tarrant County Health food permit, food handlers permit, all that stuff to be able to get a permit from the city. So a lot of hoops to jump through, but in March, I think we'll be ready to open that permitting process.
How many we're gonna have?
We can hold up to 8 inside. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, next item, Everman Civic Center rentals.
Over the last few weeks, month, we have received a ton of inquiries and have been providing a ton of tours, and we are seeing a lot of registration starting to come through on the Civic Center. As a matter of fact, there's a couple of months where every Saturday is booked up already. We've had some back-to-back bookings that have happened. We just had one this past weekend where we held an event there that was rented on Saturday, followed by a wedding reception on Sunday. So as we continue to get these calls and tours, and today they fielded several, it's becoming pretty common that we're getting these calls to take tours and book her. We're also looking at how we're having to manage that, because it's getting to a point now where it's taking a lot of staff time of management. So we're probably going to be putting together a proposal that may include transitioning a part-time position that we have to a full-time position that will be dedicated towards managing this. A heavy lift for a lot of the people that are working here, but we're managing it so far, and we'll continue to monitor that. But I think we're looking pretty good on the rentals, which will, if council continues the agreement with the EDC as far as funneling the proceeds that we receive from the rentals towards the $500,000 tax note payment. I think we'll be looking pretty good this year, providing a pretty good relief to that EDC fund. So things are looking up as far as the citizens.
Next item, citywide cleanup event 2023.
Just wanted to put it on the calendar. We have scheduled with our waste collection company to do a citywide cleanup event again the first weekend in March. If you recall, last year we did it in November. When we did it, we tried to couple a citywide cleanup effort with the citizens to try to get volunteers to come up and help us pick up trash and debris out of the various parks and roadsides and those kinds of things. The turnout for the trash collection was horrible. We did not get many people to come up to really help pick that portion up. So I wanted to leave it to council this year. Would you prefer to try that again and getting volunteers to come up and do roadside cleanup and those kinds of things? Or do we just want to do just a bulk trash collection point for a day where people can bring their trailers and junk up and get rid of it? So I figured I would leave that open to your debate, and we'll take some head nods to get some guidance on how you want to proceed forward with marketing and advertising.
Why not both?
We can do both. Last time when we tried both, we didn't get many volunteers. So that's my only concern. It may only be a handful of people again. And I mean, I think there were literally just 4 or 5 people that showed up outside of city employees last year. So
Is there going to be a charge for the bulk pickup?
there is no charge. This is a free, as long as they have an Everman water bill. They have to be an Everman resident. They have to bring an Everman water bill with them. It is completely free to dump. There are some restrictions and guidelines like on batteries, hazardous materials, those kinds of things. We'll make sure to include that in the flyer that we put out, but they'll take tires and almost any other kind of junk and debris that most people have a hard time getting rid of.
Okay, you just said the magic word, the flyer. We have got to advertise this.
Yes, ma'am.
That's part of the problem. We have 6 weeks. When is it? Which?
First weekend of March.
Okay, so we've got 6 weeks and we've got to get that advertised so people know about it, as well as what not to bring. But if you want volunteers to help pick up trash, they need to plan them.
Can
Okay.
we reach out to the school? Because that's community service
Yes,
hours.
yes.
Also on the time, could they be accurate about the time for his last? I mean, even though it cuts off at 1 o'clock, make sure the last, hall is at 12:30 or something. Because I think people were coming they were coming at 1 and it was over at 1. So
Okay.
if they could be, more accurate,
Sure.
detail on that, please.
Yes, a finite.
Is this a 2-day event or a 1-day event?
It's a 1-day event.
Saturday?
Saturday.
First Saturday. Okay.
we can put all that out, and then, it sounds like the guidance I'm getting is you want to do a citywide cleanup effort again, so we'll shoot for that again, and we'll see what the turnout's like.
Let's give it a
So we'll push
shot.
that
And
out.
maybe just on a different day and then do advertisement and maybe pick certain areas.
Okay.
Kind of like the Trinity Trash Bash. There's certain areas along the Trinity that people meet and join. And so maybe 2 or 3, 4 areas in the city of Everman. Drive around and see trash.
Did you say on?
Yeah.
I just wanted.
Definitely let the high school know they've got student organizations that need service hours, and that this would be a big help for them.
We did last year, but yes,
Okay.
we will.
Okay.
You throw out there, pick up trash, it's a deterrent from participation.
We will push it out again. But this is a good opportunity for people that are doing things like trying to clean out the creek behind their homes, or clean up drainage areas, or comply with code enforcement that don't normally get an opportunity to take big hauls. It's a great opportunity that we're able to offer them
Yeah.
for free. And it's a part of our waste collection contract to offer this once a year. So that's when we're planning.
I need to ask the attorney. Someone in the back's got a question.
Comment or what?
Well, if they can just do the flyer in English, Spanish. They were talking about advertising. A lot of the people that I remember last year were helping out. A lot of people didn't know about it until like that day and afternoon. They're like, how come nobody told us? So, we can do the flyer in Spanish.
And then going forward, it's more discussion with, if you have the comment. Next time, just for the comment section.
You can always chat with me before or after. I'm always available.
Any other discussion about citywide cleanup? You get what you need, Craig?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Next item is Wichita Street Expansion Project update.
Okay, so we have had several meetings regarding Wichita Street. Yes, it really is happening. They really are widening and redoing Wichita Street from Interstate 20 all the way to the city of Everman. It will go just past where Roy C. Brooks is, and they are going to completely rework Roy C. Brooks to where Roy C. Brooks does not have that kind of 45-degree angle into Wichita. They're going to bring it in at a 90-degree angle. So they're going to rework that whole intersection. Our staff has been working with the county at taking care of the land acquisition there in the corner to make that happen. The city of Forest Hill is going to be the host agency for this project. So this is being funded by Tarrant County. And it's being funded through a bond package. And as a part of the agreement, the way that things are set up is this money will actually be funneled through the city of Forest Hill. And we will work with Forest Hill to handle all the money associated with the construction in our portion. They're still going to have to pull permits from the city of Everman. They're still going to have to submit traffic control plans with the city of Everman. But all the financial portion of it will be handled through the city of Forest Hill, if that makes any sense. Again, covered 100% by the county, but they have to contract with a subdivision in order to funnel the money appropriately. So the city of Forest Hill will be the host agency. The participants will be Forest Hill, Fort Worth, and Everman. We are expecting to get a copy of an interlocal agreement probably here in the next couple of weeks that the attorney's office is drafting up between the 3 cities. So you can expect that to be coming up on an upcoming agenda for your approval. Again, there's no financial impact to the city of Everman for the Wichita project. The money is all going to be funneled through the city.
Any idea when they're gonna start?
They're trying to get this started as soon as possible. So Commissioner Brooks has expressed that it is his goal and his intent, and he is pushing everybody to have this done prior to the end of his term. He wants this to be his big going out project at the end of his term, and he has made this abundantly clear to all staff and all cities that it will be done by the end of his.
November
25?
31st and 24th.
20.
Thank you.
Discussion on that? Okay, next item, City Park and CDBG project updates.
All right, so we have been approved for the funding related to the park projects. Remember that funding was through a community improvement grant funded by Mark Vesey's office. This grant application came with a lot of strings that has required a lot of paperwork that we've had to work through. We've been working with the city attorney's office, the city engineer's office to meet the standards for the environmental studies that were required and things. So we have finally gotten through all that and had our paperwork all submitted and it's approved and we're just waiting for the fund. That funding is released to us, then we'll begin all the city park improvements related to that portion of the funding. And then there's a separate portion of the funding that's funded by CDBG, which is the inclusive playground piece of the park improvement project. That project, the funding for it has all been approved. However, it went to bid 3 times and no bidders took the bid. We had no submissions for bids on those, on the inclusive playground. So this last round just went in. We are waiting for the final result to come back in, but we believe that there's at least one bidder on this last project. So we should have a bidder that hopefully pass all the tests and we can finally move forward on this project. But that's been the holdup on the inclusive playground. We haven't had any contractors submit any bids in the project. Money's there.
Which,
and they're-
I'm sorry, which project are you referring to?
This is the inclusive playground that's going to go immediately south of where the existing splash pad is. And on this side, that'll have all of the playground equipment geared towards anybody with special needs, autistic children, those kinds of things, all brand new playground equipment.
Is that the one that was 140,000?
Yes, ma'am. That was from Tarrant County CDBG coronavirus funds. So it's kind of a different pot of funds. And then the last CDBG project is going to be related to Race Street. So if you recall, to address kind of the potholes, South Race Street is the street that's in the worst condition right now. It's bad. They are, we haven't wanted to do anything with that road or waste money because we're getting ready to replace that water line underneath. That package is now ready to go out for bid, and our city engineer's office is working on getting that bid package published so that we can start getting bids on that. We expect that to be happening in the spring. They'll begin construction on the water line underneath, and then once the water line is done underneath, then they're going to completely repave South Ray Street on top of that. All that has been factored into the bond package as part of that CDBG project.
Okay,
So
so race from where to where?
from Enon to just right at Pittman.
Okay.
Right at Pittman. And we're gonna have to pick up from the rest of the street improvement project from Pittman to Everman Parkway.
Okay,
We're waiting on cost estimates.
okay. That's gonna include that little bridge, Mary's Creek, that goes back behind Christie.
No, it'll be to Pittman, so it won't get to the bridge on Rice Street.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, but I thought you just said to Everman Parkway.
No, we'll look at the street improvement portion of it
Oh, okay,
from
okay,
Pittman to Everman Parkway.
okay.
CDBG funds cannot be spent in a floodway, so they have to stop at Pittman where that floodway
Okay.
toward the FEMA. kicks in.
Rats.
Any other discussion? Next item, consideration of possible action, item A, approve resolution 2023-0101. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Everman, Texas, authorizing an interlocal cooperation agreement for jail services with the cities of Mansfield and Forest Hill and for an effective date. We entertain a motion.
Make the motion to approve resolution.
Any second, any further discussion?
Okay, so, Mansfield and Forest Hill employees will come here and work.
So two separate deals. So for Forest Hill, if you're referring to Forest Hill's employees, they're not a part of this. Forest Hill's employees will become City of Everman employees. Mansfield employees will stay employees of Mansfield. The City of Mansfield, Mansfield Jail is essentially utilizing our facility for the 18 months that their facility is under construction. In exchange, essentially, of use our facility, they're going to handle all of the jail procedures. They're going to take care of all the costs associated with that. There is a factor factored into here because each city needs to make sure that they give consideration anytime that there's an agreement. So there is some consideration. That's why that consideration is so low. It's $100 a month. Mansfield Jail is handling the entire operation from the second the prisoner is brought in and they're accepted by their inmate all the way till that prisoner is transferred to Tarrant County Jail. They handle all the registration process. They handle all the feedings. They handle everything. Our officers are now hands-on. Agreement, especially from a liability standpoint, because we don't have jailers. There's always an inherent liability when you don't have staff. Jail or holding facility. So this is a tremendous.
And the jail is big enough for all of, in case we have a.
Yes, with the operation that they're doing. So if you get a chance to come by and take a look, I'd love to show you. The Mansfield jail staff has been absolutely incredible to work with. They are very good about getting individuals that are brought into custody through a process as quickly as possible, whether that process be having them magistrated and bonded out, or having them magistrated and transferred to Tarrant County. They have staff on hand that can do the transports, and then Tarrant County also comes by at least once a day to pick them. So they try to get these people in and out of our facility as quickly as possible. Our capacity is 17 before we have to start putting people on the floor, and we haven't reached that yet. So hopefully it stays that way, but they've done a very good job about funneling people kind of in and out as quickly as they possibly can. Get them out of our facility as quickly as.
Any discussion? Poll the council.
Place 2,
Aye.
place 3,
Aye.
place 4,
Aye.
place 5,
Aye.
place 6.
Aye.
Mayor,
Aye.
motion carried.
Item B, approved job description for the position of Director of Communications.
Move we approve the job description for the position of Director of Communications.
Second.
Couple of clarifications here. So this will change the position from an hourly position to a salaried position. It is within the funding that we've allotted for within our budget. Validation of Forest Hill and Tarrant County Fire. Related to the pay grade that it's associated with. Previously, we just had a dispatch supervisor. This dispatch supervisor is now going to be responsible for not just supervising dispatch, but really supervising the whole department and the operation, coordinating with police chiefs, fire chiefs, not just with our agency, but with many other agencies as well. So it's not only a change of title, but it's a change in who that individual will report to, which will be the city manager. And it is my intent to fill this position with Beverly. Dispatch supervisor previously. She's done a tremendous job at coordinating everything.
And she will be assisting you as well?
She will not be assisting me. It'll be her department. I'm more, it's more me assisting her.
Well, okay, because on some of the duties, it looks like some of them are toward, city manager responsibilities as well.
I can certainly see where it could be understood that way. But it's more geared towards as a department head. I mean, she's running, it's no longer running a division of a few people. It's no longer just a supervisor position. It's a department head. So it's essentially equal to a police chief, a fire chief, our director of public works. So there's a lot of management responsibilities that go into that role that are inherent. She'll just report to me. But
Discussion. Poll the council.
Place 2,
Aye.
place 3. Aye. Place 4,
Aye.
place 5,
Aye.
place 6.
Aye.
Mayor,
Aye.
motion carried.
The next item, executive session, we have none. Item 10, city manager's report.
I've talked enough tonight.
All right, mayor's report. I just have one thing, place 1, 3, and 5. Just remember that your term is up. If you're gonna sign up, then you need to get with Mindy by February, what's that? 18th?
I'll send out the date. just to
Okay.
be sure.
Registered by then, so it's up, so. Like I said, time 7:10, we are adjourned.